Section 3.7 has to do with percent of change. The formula for finding the straight percent of change is change over original. And it can be solved using proportions, which is why it's right here in this chapter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a ratio, and I'm going to put the change, or the difference between those, which is 3 on the top, because 28 minus 25 is 3. And then I'm going to put the original on the bottom. Well, I want to turn this into a percent. And percents are based on 100. So I want to write a fraction that has 100 on the bottom, and I'll know that the percent is whatever I get right here on the top. So if I look at this, I'm going to go 25 times 4. If I do that, I'm going to get the 100 on the bottom, which means I also have to multiply the top by 4. So that's going to give me 12 over 100, or a 12%, okay, because that's the number I'm looking for. It's over 100. Notice that it goes up. It goes from 25 to 28, so it's a 12% increase. That's my rate of change. If I look at this one, again, remember, it's the difference between those. So I have a 18 on the top, because 30 divided by 12 is 18, over the original, which is 30. You do it that way every time. Now this one's going to be a little bit more difficult because I can't make that into, well, actually I could. I can reduce that down. 6 will go into both of those, so that would be the easiest way to start it. So that's going to give me a 3 over 5 when I divide them both by 6. So then I can take that 3 over 5 and I can make it into a fraction, or a proportional fraction, a ratio that's equal to it, that has 100 on the bottom. Whatever I get up here over the 100 is going to be my percent. So 5 times 20 equals 100. So therefore I have to multiply the top by 100. So that's going to give me a 60 here, or 60%. Notice it went down. It went from 30 to 12, so this is a 60% decrease. And that is my rate of change. Now, there's another way to do these rate of change problems, and you can do it either way. Again, I'm going to use the same formula. The difference between those is 8. That's my change. My original is 32. I can, again, reduce these, and that's going to give me a 1 over 4 here. Once I get that, if I don't want to write a proportional problem, I can make a decimal out of that by dividing the bottom into the top. When I do that, I'm going to get a 0.25. Now that's the decimal value. To change a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal 2 places to the right. Hopefully you remember that from pre-algebra. So you have a 25% here. Now you could also do it where you set it, make it into a fraction over 100. So this is just another way to do it. The difference between those two is 16. The original is 20. If I reduce it to lowest terms, I'm going to have 4 over 5. So I'm going to take the 5, divide it into the 4. It goes decimal 8 times. Comes out even right there. So I get decimal 8. Well, to make a decimal into a percent, I have to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So that's going to give me an 80%. Now, coming back over here, this one went up, so this is a 25% increase, because I went from 32 to 40. This one went down, so this is an 80% decrease. Okay. Those are percent of change. Then the other thing that we have in this section is we have sales tax problems. You know, if you go in to buy something in Walmart and you maybe the tag says $2.50, but then when you get to the checkout, you owe more than $2.50 because you have to pay sales tax on the item. It's a proportion or a percent that goes to the government on everything that you buy. So it's going to increase the sales price, if you will. So if I have a concert ticket that costs $45, if the sales tax is $6.25, I need to find out what the total price would be because it's going to be more than $45. So what I have to do first is I have to take that 6.25% and I have to change it into a decimal. Now we just did it the other way around where we moved the decimal 2 places to the right. Now we're going from a percent to a decimal and we have to move it 2 places to the left. And I have to do that before I do any math on this. So I'm going to take the 0.0625 and I'm going to multiply it by the 45, okay? And that's going to give me how much more I have to pay or what the tax is going to be. So 25, I carry my 2, that's going to be 12, carry my 1, 31, and that's going to be a 3. Then I'm going to indent, and I get a 20, carry my 2, that's going to give me a 10, carry my 1, and that's going to give me a 24. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right of the decimal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, but we're talking about money, so we need to round it to that place. So I am going to pay $2.71 in sales tax. So I take my cost, $45, there's an understood decimal behind it, line up my decimals, and I add the tax that I have to pay on it. So rather than costing $45, it's going to cost me $47.71. Here's another one. A meal for 2 at a restaurant is $32.75. The sales tax is 5%, so I want to know what the total cost of the meal is. Well, 5% when I make it into a decimal is 0.05 because I have to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So I have $32.75 that I'm going to multiply by 0.05 to find my sales tax. So I have, that's going to be 25, that'll be 37, that'll be 13, and that'll be 16. And I don't have to do the 0. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right. So I would need to round to that spot because I'm talking about money, and money can only have 2 places after the decimal. So I'm talking 1.64. So that's how much tax I have to add back to the original cost. So $32.75, I have to pay another $1.64 of sales tax. So rather than costing a meal costing $32.75, it's going to cost me $34.39. All right, then you have discount problems, and discount problems are almost like the polar opposite of sales tax. So rather than adding an amount to the original cost, you subtract amount from it. So like if you went into a store and you were going to buy a sweater and it was on sale for 35% off the original. If the original of the sweater is $38, I want to know how much I'm going to pay for it now that it's on sale. So again, I'm going to take my 35% and I'm going to change it to decimal 35. I got to make a decimal out of it, so I move it 2 places to the left. So I'm going to take the $38 and I'm going to multiply it by 0.35. So I've got a decimal 2 places in because there's 2 places to the right here. So I am going to save $13.30 on this sweater. So I take the original cost, okay, and I can add the 2 zeros behind it, and I'm going to subtract $13.30. I borrow, this becomes a 10, I borrow again, that becomes a 9 here, and this becomes a 10. So I have 7, I have 6, I have a 4, and I have a 2. So rather than paying $38 for this sweater, I'm going to pay $24.67 because it's on sale. I don't add, like the tax, I add it to the cost. The discount, I'm going to subtract it from the cost. Here's another one. A dog toy is on sale for 20% off the original. If the original price of the toy is $3.80, what is the discounted price? So 20%, I have to make it into a decimal. So I move it 2 places to the left, so it's decimal 20, or you can just say decimal 2. The original cost is $3.80. I'm going to multiply it by 0.2. I have 1, 2, 3 places. I have to round it to that one because I'm talking money. So 76 cents is what I save. So I've got $3.80, and I'm going to subtract the 76 cents from it, and it's going to give me $3.04. So that's how much I'm going to pay because it's on sale. Okay. Now, if your sale price comes out to be more than your original, you know you've done something wrong. All right, then we're going to combine the two things. So this one's got a discount and it's got sales tax. So I'm going to change this to decimal 20, and I'm going to change this to decimal 06. Remember, you got to move the decimal 2 places. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my discounted price. So I have $120 times, and actually I don't have to do the zeros over there to make it easier, times 0.2. I have 1 place to the right. So I am going to save $24 on it. So I've got $120 minus $24, and that's going to give me my new price. So I borrow, it's going to give me a 6. I'm going to borrow, that's going to be 11. So I have the new price, okay, this is the discounted price. And that is the price that I'm going to pay the sales tax on. So I subtracted the discounted. Now I'm going to take the 96 and I'm going to multiply it by 0.06. So I have 36, carry the 3, 54, 57. I have 2 places to the right. So this is my tax. Now my tax gets added back to that discounted price. So I have $96, and I'm going to add the $5.76 to it. So this is actually going to cost me $101.76. I saved $24, but then I had to pay a tax of $5.76. So I subtracted the discount of $24. Then I found the tax, which is $5.76, and I added that back to my discounted price. Okay, your homework on this is page 162 to 163, 14 through 24 even, and 32 through 44 even.